Well, it's crazy in here on Sunday nights. I got to tell you, following up the Alex Jones show, big shoes. Try following that up. That's the main event. And then you have to follow that. That's what we do here every Sunday. But we have long segments tonight. We only do the breaks at the half and the top of the hour. And so that means when we take phone calls, we can take a lot of phone calls, and we don't have to rush you. So you can kind of say your piece without us having to rush you and get to the next caller. And I'm glad that Marjorie Taylor Greene, who was just on with Alex, was talking about the Burning Man situation, because there's a couple different angles to this. And no doubt, I wouldn't be surprised if it is a holiday weekend, so the news cycle is going to be a little bit different. But that usually means they have the fill-ins tomorrow. If they're not running rebroadcasts, they'll have fill-ins, and the fill-ins are going to read off the teleprompter more so than your normal news hosts. And so if the news for them to read is that global warming causes disaster at Burning Man, then that's what they're going to say. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if that becomes the story next week at all. And it is pretty wild. We're talking about 70,000 plus stranded. I mean, here's just some of the headlines. Burning Man namesake ceremony postponed as rain threatens again. And guys, if you do have some B-roll back there, or you just want to pull anything up that you find on the internet from this, it's some pretty wild scenes. No way in or out of Burning Man after storm. We're talking about 70,000 plus basically stranded, not allowed or able to leave. You'd be lucky if you could with this mud. Death at Burning Man investigated as rain-soaked festival asks attendees to shelter in place. So imagine that. Somebody dies, and you've got to shelter in place. Chris Rock, Diplo, a bunch of other big names, they got stranded. They had to walk for miles and miles, and then they hitchhiked their way out. So that's how serious it was. Even if you're rich and famous, you couldn't even get out of there if it wasn't for somebody who just happened to have a truck driving by. Casey Donovan is trapped at Burning Man after one person dies at flooded festival, trapping 73,000 revelers in hypothermic conditions. Now, there's a bunch of different angles to this. And before we hit the panic button, this stuff does happen. Music festivals have gotten out of control before. The situation with Burning Man is a little different because you're basically out in the middle of nowhere, and that's kind of the appeal. But since that's the case, well, then you get stranded when the rains come, and they basically turn it into a mud pit. And I have friends that like to go mudding, and they got big trucks and, you know, the big specialized lifted Broncos and everything else. And even they that like to go mudding all the time, even they sometimes get stuck in the mud, and they'll have disaster stories. So this does happen. Does it rain in Las Vegas? Yes, but it's rare. So you have a rare weather event that happens during this massive festival, 70,000 plus stranded there, at least one death that we know of. And so now the people are saying, look, it's another human sacrifice ritual, just like the vortex, just like the Travis Scott ceremony where they had people dying and they had these portals to hell on the screen, and that was the theme of the event. But yeah, as you're seeing on the screen here, this is what it looked like for those trying to leave. So, I mean, yeah, you might not, I mean, some people might not understand this. You say, well, how come you can't just leave if you have a car, if you have a vehicle? It's a mud pit. There is nowhere to go. Your vehicle will get stuck. You'll end up sleeping in the middle of the desert out in a mud pit. Or you can stay at your camp. Hopefully it's not completely destroyed or flooded. So yeah, you had a gigantic festival with a bunch of people in the desert, and then you had a rainstorm, unexpected, turned it into a mud pit. That's a disaster. Is that global warming? Is that climate change? No, that's really probably just bad luck. But let's also not discount incompetence in all of this as well. A lot of times we tend to look at conspiracy instead of incompetence, when a lot of times just raw, and it is leftist liberal incompetence, has a lot to do with some of this stuff. Could they have had something planned? Did it have to be 70,000 plus stranded? Did people have to walk miles and miles and miles to get away, just hoping somebody would pick them up? Where is a rescue effort? Where is a disaster relief? And are they going to turn this into the next big, man-made climate change caused this, raining in the desert and a mud pit? That would have happened whether they were there or not. So, it's unfortunate. I couldn't imagine the misery of being stuck in the desert in a mud pit for multiple days without any escape. Sounds like total hell. And, of course, other people are saying, well, maybe they deserve this. They do all these satanic, demonic burning of effigies and everything else, and so they're saying, well, maybe they asked for this. What's wild is there are actually children stranded out there. People bring their children to this, and now they're stranded out there as well. Wait, I didn't know. South Park did a Burning Man? Now that's too much. Yeah, there's Cthulhu coming up. So, yes, that's just a South Park episode, not the real event. But here's what they do. This would be not even a story if it wasn't for Burning Man. So here's what they do. They take weather events that have been going on forever, and now everything is blamed on climate change. And it's just this self-fulfilling, it's a false prophecy that weather is our biggest enemy, weather is our biggest concern, our biggest issue, and if we don't control the weather or control the climate, then we're all going to die. And so this Burning Man situation plays perfectly into that narrative, and that's why I wouldn't be surprised if they use that all week long to say, see, this is what you get, climate change, climate change, climate change. And then, God forbid, if there's more than one dead individual, it's just going to be, look what you did. You didn't vote for climate change action. And they're going to hold up these dead bodies and put them on display and say, see, this is what we get for not taking climate change seriously. But imagine if that same effort, imagine if that same energy went to showing Al Gore clips from the year 2000, 2001, 2002, John Kerry clips from the same 2000s era up to 2010, and all the predictions that those two climate alarmists made. You're talking probably the top two climate alarmists in the Democrat Party. That's John Kerry and Al Gore. And not a single one of their scientific data predictions has come true. In fact, it's been the exact opposite. So it's always the same people that have been proven wrong, using every time there's a glacier or a hurricane or a rainstorm in the desert, saying, see, I told you so, but their data has never been proven right. And quite frankly, there's nobody else on the presidential campaign right now other than Vivek Ramaswamy who is hammering this fraud for what it is. And it is a fraud. It's a fraud because the idea is that you, the human being on planet Earth, must be governed. You must be governed. And the energy and the resources and the assets and everything else that comes into your life must be rationed. Your food must be rationed. Your energy must be rationed. This is the concept behind the global government. This is what's lurking behind the climate change, man-made climate change, stop carbon emissions agenda. And I believe we've said it here first on InfoWars. You are the carbon they want to stop. You are the carbon they want to cancel. I do believe we coined that catchphrase first. I see it everywhere now. I'm proud of it. But that is the truth. You are the carbon they want to cancel. Now, there's all kinds of craziness, and actually that's not that's a false report. That's a video from Africa that people are saying is from Burning Man. So just so we can clarify that. It's probably good that they put that on the screen. I just said, hey, find these videos on the internet of Burning Man. And by the way, the crew here, just so you guys understand, nobody does what this crew here does. Notice I'm in the same studio. I'm in the same chair. I'm behind the same microphone that Alex Jones was just on 2 minutes before I took air. Nobody does this. Same crew, and they're pulling in all of my stories and all of my videos, everything in basically a 2-minute break. So nobody else does this. No other crew works like InfoWars crew. No other crew has the capabilities, the multimedia, multifaceted, multi-hats being worn at all times. So sometimes it's a little clunky off the gates here just because we don't change studios. It's same crew, same studio. So remember that. Remember, at InfoWarsStore.com, you're supporting this entire crew, which makes everything here possible. And I'm greatly appreciative of the crew. I'm greatly appreciative of them working 7 days a week. And they do work 7 days a week. Alex Jones was up here yesterday shooting a live report, very powerful report, with big special guests like General Flynn and Joe Biggs. So 7 days a week for this crew. Remember that. And remember to support them when you shop at InfoWarsStore.com. So let's just wait and see if they don't use this event as the next big push to say, see, you did this. You should have fought harder against climate change. All the climate experts, all their predictions have been wrong. They believed them at the International Glacier Park. Where was that glacier park? It might have been in Canada or New York somewhere. It was a big glacier park. And it said for years after Al Gore said that all those glaciers would be melted. He said that in 2001. He said all the glaciers here are going to be melted. And the park leadership took him seriously. And they put a sign up at their park and it said all these glaciers will be melted by the year 2020. Well, it's now the year 2023 and the glaciers are still there and bigger than ever. So they took the sign down. Yeah, they took the sign down because obviously that was a lie and it didn't go down the way they said it would. But instead of, okay, let's address the lie for what it is, let's just ignore that we got fooled by them. Let's just take down the sign and pretend nothing happened. You had a bunch of liberals. There it is, Montana. Thank you, crew. All glaciers will be gone by 2020. Signs removed because ice formation's still there. There was a crew of leftist, I guess they were just geologists, or I don't know. They were going down to Antarctica, and they wanted to do studies on the land there or the deep ice. And they said, well, this is going to be great. We can go deeper than ever to Antarctica to do these studies. We can go deeper than we've ever been before because the ice is totally melted. Now, they didn't actually research that. They just believed that. So what happened? So they said, we're going to go miles deeper into Antarctica than any other exhibition scientific crew has ever gone. Their boat got stuck in ice 10 miles before they reached their destination. Stuck in ice, had to get rescued. Had to get rescued. But they still promote the big lie. So there's no doubt they're going to be pushing this climate change hoax all week long. You're going to see images from Burning Man. You're going to see images from the Florida hurricane and any other images they want. But it's important because we have to remember this because the mainstream media apparently is going to lie to you. Oh, yeah, there it is. Mass gains of Antarctic ice sheet greater than losses. Yeah, scientific crews found that out the hard way. They got stuck in the ice. Had to call for rescue vehicles. But no, it's important for us to remember this. In the 70s, they said it was an incoming ice age. They said an ice age was inevitable. Didn't happen. Then in the 80s, they said it was acid rain. Acid rain, acid rain, acid rain. Was no acid rain. And then in the 90s, they said the ozone layer. The holes in the ozone layer. And now there's no ozone layer. And now we're going to bake. We're going to be baked like a turkey. And then that story went away. And then it was global warming and global warming and global warming and global warming. But they couldn't actually put the data out that there was global warming. And so now it's just climate change, which is regular. There's always climate change. The climate is always changing. And the truth is that I don't even think we fully understand our climate. I don't think we fully understand the long phenomenons, the long trends of our climate have really not been studied the way that they need to be studied. And you basically have Graham Hancock and others that prove beyond a reasonable doubt that about every 3,000 or so years, there are major weather climate catastrophes They wipe out major civilizations. Some of them get buried under rocks. Some of them get buried under sea. And then they dig it up, and they prove, look, here was 3,000 years, here was 6,000 years, here was 9,000 years, here was 12,000 years. But see, that disproves the theory of evolution, which they need to tell you so that you think you evolved from some pond scum. And that disproves the theory of man-made climate change, which they have to sell to you because that's the only way to make you a slave on planet Earth and get you to ration out your life, your years on this planet. So they don't want to promote Graham Hancock's important work because they need the theory of evolution and they need the theory of man-made climate change to make you slaves. To make you slaves. Oh, yes, and they always attack Graham Hancock. See, the same, it's like if the political establishment used to attack Alex Jones, well, it's like the historical establishment attacks Graham Hancock because he just disproves everything that they ever believed. And instead of saying, oh, wow, there's new information, let's study that, instead they say, screw you, Graham Hancock, screw you. We don't care about your historic research and that you've proven the modern day theory of evolution is wrong. They aren't interested in that. So, we shall see if they make this Burning Man story the next big push for climate change politics. But whether it's this or the next hurricane or tornado or flood, every time there's a weather event, that's what the left now does. So, here's the next thing. There's rumors, and this is all rumors and innuendo, and there's no way to know for sure because it's hard to get messages in and out. There's not really any good service there. Some videos are getting in and out. Some texts are getting in and out. And now the next fear is there a virus going around? Is there some sort of a major virus going around this event that's getting people sick? Now, there was already a virus going around. I got it. A couple people here at the studio got it. And they even say, whether it's the B.162A or whether it's the Omicron or who knows, they say now, yes, okay, if you have been vaccinated, this virus is a bigger threat to you. If you have been vaccinated, this virus is a bigger threat to you. If you have not been vaccinated, then this virus, you might get sick for a day or two and then you'll be fine. And that's the result we've had here at the office. I know I've got it. I know Alex had got it. A couple other crew members have gotten it. Nobody really missed any work because of it. And none of us were vaccinated. So, yeah, we got the new variant, and we have natural immunity, so got it and got rid of it and within a couple days, and we're good. But if you got that vaccine, then now you're in trouble because that destroyed your immune system. And so you got reports like this coming out. There may not be Ebola at Burning Man, but hypothermia, stomach bugs, and foodborne illness will be a problem if storm conditions persist. So, yeah, they've got problems. And people are getting sick. And one person has died. So, really, this is just an event in the middle of the desert that, went horribly wrong this year. I mean, clearly the conditions would tell you, yeah, if you got a rainstorm at that event, you're kind of SOL, aren't you? And then it just gets worse with the sickness and people not able to get food or water. So, yeah, I mean, that's a bad situation. You put a concert in the middle of the desert or you put an event in the middle of the desert and then things go wrong, yeah, you're in bad shape. You're in bad shape. You go out to the middle of the ocean, you don't tell anyone you're there, your boat goes down, you're in bad shape. But the left will use this ultimately as some sort of a push for climate change agenda. And who knows, maybe they'll say, see, non-vaccinated people caused us to get sick, even though they're eating raw food. They have hypothermia. And yeah, there probably is some viruses going around. And when you're out in the middle of the desert and already malnourished, then you're probably exposed to them. But we'll see about all that. And I'm curious if anybody in the audience has seen or heard about this. Could you imagine being stuck out there in the desert in that mud pit, though? And it's just like, I mean, talk about hell. No, thank you. And that is one of the reasons why I don't think I would ever be attending Burning Man. I don't think that's going to be the one for me. No. We got a couple other developing stories. The situation in Maui continues to get stranger. We've got a powerful statement from RFK Jr. we're going to play for you as well. People are waking up to the election fraud that is happening. I've got a video from a press conference where they're basically, I mean, they're just stunned at the levels of election interference that they're witnessing. I mean, there's this level of denial, I guess is what I would call it. When we have videos from the 2020 election in Detroit, Michigan, where they're pulling up at 3:30 in the morning with truckloads of ballots all for Joe Biden, that is ludicrous level election fraud. And they got away with it. They just got away with it, even though we have the footage. When they cover the polling locations where they're doing the tabulations of the ballots in Philadelphia, and they put cardboard boxes and giant covers over the windows so you can't see in, I mean, that is clearly election fraud. You are not allowed to do that. Why didn't they want you seeing in those rooms? Why didn't they want you seeing in those tabulation centers? So there's Detroit, there's Philadelphia, then there's Atlanta, Georgia. Oh, a water main broke. It didn't break. And then what happens when they step away from the polling centers and nobody's supposed to be counting ballots? A couple Democrats walking around, pulling hundreds of thousands of ballots out from under the table, secret little storage banks that they had. And then they all went for Joe Biden at 3 o'clock in the morning, and he won Georgia. I mean, we have that. We have the timestamps. We have the videos. We have the results. That is right in our face, blatant. But don't tell Bret Baier from Fox News. Don't tell the election experts. Don't tell the specialists. Don't show them, the mainstream media news election specialists. Don't show them the fake water main break and then they started pulling ballots out in Georgia. Don't show them in Philadelphia where they block anybody from seeing into the tabulation areas. Don't show them the videos of truckloads of ballots pulling into Detroit, Michigan at 3 in the morning. Don't show them. Don't show them. Oh, but maybe they should see this clip. Here, let's go ahead and listen to this. This is in Arizona. What did they see in the recent Arizona elections in clip 4?
Hinds County Democratic Party have a chairperson by the name of Jackie Amos. We believe and we have evidence.
Mississippi, thank you. Correction,
Jackie
Mississippi
Amos is tampering with the Hinds County elections. I provided each of you with a copy of the information in her conspiracy and correspondence to someone concerning my election on August the 8th. I cannot read all and everything that she said on this paper because some of it, the words are not fit to use. She corresponded with an individual. That individual called the chairperson, Jackie Amos, or texted chairperson Jackie Amos and stated, hey, don't let them cheat Deborah Dixon out of her election. She won fair and square. Jackie Amos' response to that text was that she won, but I'm going to F David Archie on the site. This matter came from the chairperson of the Hinds County Democratic Party. And so on today, we asking that the Hinds County Democratic Party take immediate action. We asking that she step down from her position as Hinds County chairperson of the Democratic Party, along with Sandra McCall, who is the secretary, who is her running buddy in and around this election. We have videotape of Jackie Amos going into boxes, bringing in thumb drives, bringing in ballots to be inserted into machines. We have pictures of Jackie Amos participating in what we think that is fraud as well as corruption. And so we want to be absolutely clear that this matter is not only with the Hinds County Democratic Party, but this matter is with every citizen in the state of Mississippi. This is the opportunity to stop corruption and to stop fraud when it comes to elections in the state of Mississippi.
Now we need to understand that saying your election was stolen from you or crying foul after an election loss has been considered taboo and bad politics. And so even individuals who have ran and maybe thought that there was some shenanigans or some tomfoolery or just blatant fraud that happened, they wouldn't make a big public case out of it because the decorum, the standard used to be just take your loss, walk away. We don't talk about election fraud in this country. Well, that's changed. And I think it's so ridiculous now. I mean, you take Donald Trump versus Biden. Trump gets 30,000 people at a rally. Biden can't get 30. And then you talk about all the individuals that continue to cry foul from the 2020 election that followed up with a lot of people paying attention to the 2022 midterm elections and then just local special elections like we just heard from in Mississippi. So this is the new normal now. If you feel something went wrong or you don't feel that you got a fair result in your race, then you make a fuss about it. And you do the research and the legwork to find out why this went down. And when you find the shenanigans or you find text messages of people saying, yep, we're going to steal this election, do not care, we're doing it. Yeah, it's time to make a big fuss of this. So I don't think this is going anywhere. And really, it just leads to total chaos in the 2024 elections if and when we get there. You did see that Alexa video where Amazon Alexa predicts that there won't be any elections in 2024. You know, maybe that's because it's picking that up from the general population talking. Who knows? Maybe there's an Alexa inside the Democrat Party, Joe Biden headquarters, and they're the ones talking about that. And so Alexa says, oh, this is the Biden headquarters. They're saying they're going to shut down the election with the War Powers Act. I guess I'll document that data and put it in my storage bank. So we're going to come back and we're going to open up the phone lines on all of this and more on the other side.
I want to thank you all for your support. I personally have to pay my legal bills. The court has ruled I have to pay for half the bills. Keep free speech on air. I don't have any money. And my back bills of the year are a little over $1 million. Sounds like a lot. Trump's already spent almost $70 million this year alone. You want us to fight the globalist? Sounds like big numbers. It's not, folks. We need your support. It's a decision you've got to make. Buy products at InfoWarsStore.com that enrich your life. They're great. That funds free speech. The judge has said I got to pay half the legal bills and everything else. I can't do it. So this is our chink in the armor, and we'll have to shut down pretty soon. And then as soon as they're shutting down, we'll get all the money. Once you start this, you can't stop this. So I'm firing the bat signal. I appreciate all your ongoing support. We're in a major toe-to-toe battle, long-term war. I'm sorry I got to keep asking for support, but I'm asking you humbly to keep us on air, to go to defendjones.com. A GiveSendGo account, defendjones.com. I appreciate those that donated in the past. I appreciate everybody that supported the show. You know who you are. We've raised like $25,000 in the last couple hours. That sounds great. I've got $1 million problem. I think in the next month you're going to come through. I think we'll raise it. Unlike selling $1 million of supplements, and we make $300,000 or $400,000, or we sell water filters, $1 million of water filters, and we make $200,000. I'm not complaining, it's just we don't put a lot of markup in there, and they're high quality, and we give you the best deals. This is how my brain works. People say, oh, just have bigger markup, you'll have any problems. I can't do it. But I'm separate from the free speech bankruptcy, and I'm out of money. And we're actually winning these cases, as you see. They're really freaked out. So I need your support. It's a long-term fight. We fought so long. You can decide whether you want to give up or not. I know you don't want to, most of you. But I wanted to read some of the great comments. We've had some big donations, small donations. They're all wonderful, and we appreciate you at defendjones.com. Anonymously, privately, you can give or you can comment if you want. This is anonymous donor, 1 minute ago, $50. Bless you, Alex and InfoWars. Bless you too. Taylor gave $30. I am going broke, but the dollar won't be around much longer anyways. Exactly, folks. You got to put money in to win. Hope to see lots of engagement with this fund. We'll stay on air. That's what will happen. Anonymous donor, $50. Thank you for your work. Thank you. Ralph from Ohio, $10. Listening to InfoWars 20 years. 95% correct accuracy rate of geopolitical diagnosis and cure rate. Vincent, $250. Thank you. Alex, you woke me up in the early 2000s with 9/11 Road to Tyranny, and I've been a regular listener and contributor since 2007. Thank you. You're the InfoWar. I'm praying for you and President Trump on a regular basis. Stay strong, and thank you for doing what you're doing, brother. Vincent, thank you, Vincent. Karma, $3,000. Woo! Opposition in all things. Anonymous, $1,000. Thank you, Alex. No, thank you, Anonymous. Thank you, Karma. Jesus, we love you, Alex and crew. God's continuing blessing upon you and yours. Mike Linham, $1,000. Thank you, Mike. Anonymous donor, $10. The Bible says, if God is for me, who can be against me in the fight? And with Jesus by your side, fighting darkness, you'll prevail. The kingdom of darkness doesn't stand a chance because we already have the victory. My prayers go with you, Alex, and may the Holy Spirit give you peace. Thank you. Amen. That's just some of the comments. Thank you so much. That means so much. Please go to defendjones.com. And if you want to keep me in the fight, it's your decision. Not saying you should, not trying to make you do it. Keep this dog in the fight and donate now. Action is victory. Resistance is victory. It is in your court. It is your decision whether to pull the plug on this operation or not.
Now, those were the sights and sounds from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, when Donald Trump was president of the United States, and he would show himself at college football games quite frequently. To roars of the crowd. Now you have F. Joe Biden chants breaking out at college football games. But I challenge Joe Biden. Do you think Joe Biden would get a warm reception at a University of Alabama football game, or any SEC football game for that matter, or maybe any college football game? I challenge Joe Biden, show your face at one big college football game. Let's just see it. Let's see how the crowd responds. Would you guys like to see that? I'd like to see that. I'm sure 81 million votes Joe would get a big raucous applaud. Wait. No, he'd probably get booed out of the venue. They'd probably start rioting like Philadelphia fans when they see Santa Claus. But 81 million votes, I'm sure. All right. We're going to cover a couple other news stories, a couple other video clips. I do want to give out the phone number right now because I want to take calls, as we like to do on this InfoWars Sunday Night Live transmission with the extended segments. Gives me more time to take calls, gives you more time to finish your thoughts. 877-789-2539. 877-789-2539 to to get into the InfoWars studios and get on the air for this transmission. Are you hearing any of this about Burning Man? And apparently it's going to get worse. Apparently they might be stranded out there, so this could only get worse, and it's just the perfect opportunity. Oh, look, people got sick. It's your fault. You didn't wear a mask. You didn't take a vaccine. Oh, look, they got flooded. Oh, because you didn't take climate change seriously. It's all setting up. It's all setting up. Oh, and then they've got the UFOs they want to bring back. They want you to be scared of UFOs, flying saucers, aliens. That's what they want you to be afraid of. But ladies and gentlemen, we've got good news right now at InfoWarsStore.com. One of our top-rated, top-selling supplements, that is Bod Ease, is back in stock. Almost a year it was out of stock, and that's because this is a hard supplement to source the ingredients of. When you've got turmeric at a 95% curcuminoid rate, it is hard to source. But we've done it, and we've got it back in stock right now at InfoWarsStore.com. Don't forget about all the powerful ingredients, not just the 95 curcuminoid turmeric. You've also got the Boswellia serrata extract, the organic sage leaf, the organic lemon balm leaf, the organic thyme leaf, and pepperine from black pepper. All of this together gives us Bod Ease, whole body support, inflammation support, flexibility support, and joint support. Now, for me, I noticed the difference in I got a sciatic nerve that likes to act up, especially if I do some heavy lifting with my legs. It tends to get a little inflammation. Man, I hit the Bod Ease, and the relief is, I wouldn't say immediate, but I can tell the difference. Big time. Big time. So that's where I see it. I try to stay healthy. I try to stay flexible. Joint support, I mean, that's just huge. You don't want to get joint pain as you grow older, especially if you're physically active like I am. So it's big for that. But I can just tell you, I really feel it a difference when I'm sore after a workout or an exercise. That's when I really feel the difference. But all kinds of testimonies on Bod Ease at InfoWarsStore.com. Find out why this supplement sells out every time we get it back in stock, and make your purchase today at InfoWarsStore.com before it sells out again. And by the way, I do believe we have it at a 25% off rate right now. So take advantage of this sale while supplies last at InfoWarsStore.com. And you can read all the hundreds of 5-star reviews for yourself. This product is no joke, ladies and gentlemen. And neither is this crew. And it's your support at InfoWarsStore.com that makes everything we do here possible. All right, we are getting the phone lines and the callers lit up here. So we will have that in a second. Let's cover the rest of this news. All right, we hit the Burning Man thing. Everybody trying to escape. Could get worse. The wild images coming out of there. And then they're going to use it to say, we need more lockdowns. You didn't wear a mask. You didn't take a vax. See, now everybody's sick. You didn't take climate change seriously. Now there's people stranded in the desert. It's like, oh, you went to Death Valley and it was hot. See, you should have listened to us on climate change. Oh, you dove into the ocean and it was water. See, you should have listened to us on climate change. This is the insanity of it all. But there were some wild, wild sights and scenes, and I don't want to belabor this because we already talked about it, but I mean, you want to talk like Mad Max scenes coming out of Burning Man. So that might hurt the future of this event. Let's just put it like that. They're probably going to have to adapt, considering how wild this stuff has been. Let's start here. Let's go to, all right, we played for you in Mississippi, the voter fraud issue. Here's RFK Jr. naming names: BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, robbing Americans. Hear it straight from RFK Jr. in clip 5.
We've all heard stories of 20 and 30-year-old kids who can't afford to buy a house and even can't afford rent and are moving back in with their parents. This isn't happening because young people have suddenly gotten lazy. Monthly mortgage payments for home buyers are up 20% just in the last year, and that's because interest rates have doubled. Meanwhile, the cost of the average home has gone from $250,000 to $400,000 just since 2019. And those higher home prices have also driven up the cost of rent. So now Americans are paying a third of their income for rent. That's the highest ratio since records were kept. So what's happening? Well, what's happening is BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard, these giant corporations which own 88% of the S&P 500, are going into real estate. These investment firms swoop in as soon as a house comes on the market. They outbid prospective home buyers with cash offers. They add that property to their investment portfolio, and then they rent it back to you or your children at the most exorbitant rate that the market can bear. So how can our kids or the typical American homeowner win a bidding war with BlackRock? By 2030, these giant corporations are on track to own 60% of the single-family homes in our country. So BlackRock wants to be everybody's landlord and everybody's neighbor, but I'm not going to let that happen. When I get to the White House, I'm going to restore affordable home ownership to every American, and I'm going to do that without raising the national debt. And here's how I'm going to accomplish that feat. I'm going to create a federal program that backs mortgages at 3% financed by tax-free bonds. These mortgages are going to be available to people only, not corporations. This will drop mortgage payments by more than $1,000 a month for a medium-priced home and allow your children to outcompete BlackRock in the market. So here's how it works. Imagine that you had a rich uncle who was willing to co-sign your mortgage. Well, I'm going to make Uncle Sam that rich uncle. It's not a giveaway, it's a loan guarantee that makes that property affordable to millions of Americans who cannot now afford it. This is just one of the policies that the Kennedy administration will deploy to create millions of new home buying opportunities at payments of less than $1,000 a month. We're also going to change the tax code to get corporations out of the single-family home market. And we're going to work with municipalities to get empty lots and derelict homes back into circulation at low prices. As President of the United States, I'm going to create a housing boom in this country the same way that we did it after World War II when we made home ownership affordable for working people.
So I'm not so sure I agree with all the policy there, and this is a tough issue to tackle, especially if you don't want government intervention. But how do you tackle this without some form of government intervention? So this is a tough nut to crack here, but the issue is being addressed, and it's being addressed in a fine way, I would say, by RFK Jr. and even by Vivek Ramaswamy. Trump has talked about this kind of on the edges. He hasn't really gotten to the heart of it yet. I expect eventually he will have to, especially if the rhetoric keeps coming from RFK Jr. and from Vivek Ramaswamy. But this issue of home ownership becoming impossible for the average American in the United States, this is a serious issue. I think it's going to become a major platform issue for the 2024 elections. And how could it not? How could it not? How do you keep, though, without creating the big government phenomenon, how do you keep BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard from buying up all the property in the United States and basically becoming the permanent owners and renters, completely controlling that market? How do you avoid that? It's tough, really. And what really needs to happen is that the price of houses needs to go down to what it actually is. But now you're getting involved with the homeowners getting screwed. So I don't know. This is a tough issue to tackle. If the real, we did this math before. I don't remember the formula exactly, but here's the issue we have. Americans are paying about 6 to 7 times the actual value of a house. And that's because of the mortgages, and that's because of the banks, and that's because of these major real estate industries and hedge fund managers coming in and raising the prices and buying it all up. It was all done intentionally. The real value of a house should be, what is the average price of a home in the United States? It's about $400,000. What is the average percentage of a down payment on a house? I think it was about 10%. And so really, a $400,000 house is actually a fair market value of $100,000. That $300,000 is all from the banks and from the major real estate brokerages that buy up all the property. So that's the problem you have. You have the housing market way overinflated because of the banks and because of the major realtors. Now, how do you correct that? I don't know. I don't know. But at least RFK Jr. is trying to think of something to relieve this issue, because now with these mortgage rates getting up to 7% in the Biden administration, I mean, you're looking at these payments and you're saying, between my property taxes and my interest rates, it's not even worth buying a house anymore. And I'm going to end up paying on a $400,000 house, you're going to end up paying about $400,000 that aren't even for the house. It's in property taxes and in your interest rates. And so potentially first-time home buyers are seeing this and they're saying, no, why would I do that? I would rent and basically have the same bottom line at the end of the day. Forget about equity in the home. You're gonna have equity in cash that you would be saving, not paying the mortgage, not paying the interest rate, not paying the taxes. So you've now made it financially irresponsible, is how they would look at it, for potentially first-time homeowners to even buy a house. They look at those numbers and they say, well, this is financially irresponsible. I can pay $1,500 in rent and get no equity, or I can pay $3,500 in a mortgage and save more in cash that I could just basically value that as my equity instead of putting it into a house. Not to mention all the bills and everything else that comes with owning a home. So this is what's been done to us, but it's all part of the 2030 agenda. As RFK Jr. stated, you will own nothing and you will be happy. And see, look at what happens. If you don't even own the house that you live in, well, boy, oh boy, you're subject to a lot, aren't you? You're subject to potentially a lot of corporate tyranny. Can they kick you out of your house if you don't take a vaccine? You think the answer is no? Can they kick you out of your house if you eat too much meat? Can they kick you out of your house if you consume too much energy? You think the answer is no? Actually, here's a big one. The phone lines are already lit up, so I can't really dig into this today. When you are in my position as a political talk show host, and my friends and family have known I'm a political wonk, obsessed with politics, you might say, for at least 10 years. People tell me their stories, and that's part of the reason why I've been way ahead of the curve on the housing market issue. That's part of the reason why I've been way ahead of the curve on the Bidenomics issue. You're now starting to see major presidential candidates, major media finally picking up on this, saying, how are people living their lives? How can people even afford to live? How can they afford houses? They can't. This phenomenon has been building since 2021. I'm just hearing from these people. So here's here's one that's interesting. And I would guess that there's a lot of people out there this has already happened to. And it happened to me, but it depends on where you live, the county, the state, and the electric company that provides energy to your home. They are now going, and in fact, we have a caller from St. Louis. I got 2 stories from St. Louis on this. They did try to do this in Texas, but the way our system works here, it's a little bit harder. But in St. Louis, and I'm wondering if this caller from St. Louis has heard of this, the power company there is Ameren UE. And there's some other power companies based out of there, but that's probably where you're getting your power if you're in St. Louis. They are now going around to every house that doesn't have a smart meter on it. And so they come to you and they say, here's the deal. Here's your smart meter. This is going to save you money on your electricity bill. And that's the catch. They say, hey, we need to come in and we need to install this smart meter. This is going to save you money on your electric bill. And so the average person has no clue what's going on. They just say, oh, okay, great. Go ahead and install it. No charge. I save money. Plug it in. Not realizing what it's really there to do, which is track, trace, and report your energy usage to the global corporate government and shut you down when you've gone over your cap, when you've exceeded your limit. Some people know what that's about. So they say, no, I don't want that smart meter. And guess what happens next? They say, okay, you don't want the smart meter? We're raising your electricity rates now. Some people say, okay, well, that's fine. I don't want to be subjected to this tyranny. I can afford another whatever you're going to charge me a month. No, you're not going to do it. Not here. So then they come back and they got some other angle, which, we have to investigate your system, or, it's not reading correctly, all this stuff. We got to put the smart meter up. And they say no. And do you know what the power company does next? They call the police on you, and they bring the police out. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Now, the police have a better idea of what's going on here because they have to talk to the homeowners and they have to talk to the power companies. And the police know, and they tell the homeowners, they say, look, we're not being called here because you did anything illegal. We're being called here by the power companies because they go around trying to install these smart meters and, let's say some people give them the old don't tread on me routine. And most of these people that work at the electric company probably don't understand what this is about either. And they just say, hey, we're here to give you this smart meter. It's good for you. We're switching to these systems. And some, good old boys get up in their face and say, no, I'm not taking this tyranny. I can't believe you're raising my electric bill because I won't take this tyranny. I got a few choice words for you. So now the power company shows up in their final threat tactic and they say, we're here with the police. We got to put this system in. And then they reject it. Now, again, they tried to do this in Texas. They tried to do it at my house, actually, and I said, no, I don't want that. And they said, yeah, you're probably smart. Most people are rejecting it. But they have other end arounds. If you get a new air conditioning unit installed, they want to, so then that's their new end around, is they can just put the smart meter on your air conditioning system. And just lucky for me, the guy that was installing my new air conditioning system, he happened to know who I was, and the system that I selected to have put in my house, he said, hey, just so you know, they have a smart meter on that system. Are you sure you want that one? And I said, well, I definitely want, this is the one I want. Is there any way we can do an end around that system? And he said, actually, yes, there is. But just know that if somebody else comes in here and toys with your system, then they're going to put you on the smart meter grid. And so now that's why, you get your new AC unit and you can have it on your phone, and that's great. You can have your new smart oven and your smart dishwasher and smart laundry machine, everything. You got it right on your phone, right on an app, and you can turn it on and off. Hey, that's great. That's a technological innovation. And you know what? If I'm away from work and I want to have the AC at 75 so I can save money, and then when I'm about to head home, I want to crank it down to 69, and I do that on my phone, and maybe that saves a little energy, saves a little money, then that's great. But it's the back door that's built into it. And it's not just your air conditioning. It is your oven. It is your refrigerator. It's all of it. They're building these smart meter systems into everything. And it's all feeding into the same database that's tracking, tracing, and reporting your energy uses. Why would they want to do that? It's not to make it more convenient for you so that you can turn dinner on before you go home or turn your AC on before you can go home. It's to make it more convenient for the corporate government so that they already have the system in place to limit your energy consumption. So you've used too much energy for this month, your AC is shut off. You've used too much energy this month, refrigerator off, oven off, and then you'll learn. You better not consume that much energy, you dirty American. So that's another thing that we got coming. Let's quickly go to Maui. Dwayne Wade and Oprah claim they have donated $10 million, $5 million apiece. But people are noticing this and they're saying, wait a second, is that really what's going on? Here's a video of one woman responding to that in clip 6.
We're so concerned with what's happening in Maui. We thought we'd ask you to do something about it. You being other billionaires? I know, just like regular normal people. Right, okay, but you're giving 10 million. Well, we've committed to giving 10 million. What does that mean? Well, we haven't actually given it yet, but we're committed to giving it via you. Sorry, what was that? We're committed to giving the 10 million through your donations. What do you say at the end there? We'd like you to donate, and that's how we'll get to the 10 million. I thought that you already pledged the 10 million. Well, we've sort of committed that on behalf of you. So you haven't given 10 million, then you've just set a goal of raising it. Well, so you've committed other people's money to your own charity you just set up. With disasters like this, the number one need is money. Aren't you a multi-billionaire? Well, yes. A billion is 1,000 million, and you have multiple billion. Yes. And you also own 2,000 acres in Maui. Don't you have both the means and the moral obligation to help the community you live in? Hello? Oprah? Guys, I think she's Mitch McConnell.
So, I this stuff pains me because I'd rather see the positive, and I'd rather think that other humans want to be a positive force. But, I mean, what is The Rock worth? The Rock's got to be worth at least $100 million. And, of course, Oprah is worth multi-billions. So they could easily give $5 million. I mean, Oprah could give $5 million. She wouldn't even feel it. The Rock might feel $5 million. But the point is they could easily give $5 million apiece. Now, where does that go? What is it for? Who knows? But here's what people have realized. It wasn't that The Rock and Oprah gave $5 million. They started a new company. They say The Rock is worth $800 million. So, okay, he would not feel $5 million. But apparently what they've done is really they've just started a new company and each put $5 million in. So anybody could start a new company and have a partner. And one of the first things you do is you move money there so that you have some assets and some funds. So what people are noticing is that, wait, you didn't actually donate $10 million. You started a company and then you each put $5 million into the company. And now that company is accepting donations from the average struggling American, the average struggling person in Hawaii. So, I mean, again, it's like, I don't want to have to sit here and just say, are you just a total phony, Dwayne Johnson? Are you just a total phony, Oprah? Are you just pretending to donate to these people when really you're just starting a company that you're going to use to take money from other disasters? Like we've seen so many times, like with the Red Cross and other groups in Haiti. Tell me that's not what's going on here. I mean, it's just so sad.
This is the War Room with Owen Schroyer.
And overall, the whole message right now from the people of this planet to the World Economic Forum is F off.
Tune in live weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. Central at band.video.
I've got a canister of the Covilight Plus here. This is just ridiculous. I'm just looking at the supplement facts again and the ingredients here. I don't know how you squeeze so much into there.
Everybody loves it. I remember, like, General Flynn would be like, oh my God, Covilight, the Covilight lady. Whenever I go out, everybody on the
Covilight lady.
Everybody, Claire loves Covilight. They're like, well,
you need to do it. You can sing. You need to sing a song that's like a catchy Covilight song.
I know, right? You need your Covilight. You need your Covilight for today. You need your Covilight.
There it is. I mean, that's just incredible.
You need your Covilight. You need your Covilight for today. You need your Covilight. It takes away the brain fog. It makes you feel better. You need your Covilight. You need your Covilight for today. You need your Covilight.
There are no additives. That is just
this is
supplement.
Some good stuff. You need your Covilight. You need your Covilight for today. You need your Covilight.
There it is.
It has like a focus blend and it has like a cardio blend and then it has regular vitamins.
I mean, that's just incredible.
I take my vitamins in Covilight.
When it comes to regaining energy, convenience is key. Sure, coffee, candy, and other highly sugar-filled products can give us a short boost, but the crash is always the strongest downside. That's why our team of scientists worked with the InfoWars crew to create a powerhouse mixable energy formula. Having TurboForce Plus at work, home, in the car, or in your bag is the ultimate answer to a sluggish day.
All right, we're going to be taking phone calls the rest of the way here. We do have some other stories. Look, I've always wondered, how do they get individuals to act so criminally and in such fraud against Donald Trump? I mean, it's beyond a lack of character or integrity or ethics or morals. It really is. Who has blackmail on you? What are the skeletons in your closet that would drive you to being such a public shame on your own self, such a public fraud? And everywhere you look now, you see that the people are waking up. It's one of the oddest things I've ever seen. Anti-illegal immigration protests in New York City. You had them in Cape Cod, Massachusetts, Los Angeles, and these are all Democrat-run areas. And so the Democrat leaders step up and they say, stop with the illegal immigration. But then if you say, okay, tell Joe Biden to close the border down, they say, well, the border's secure. What? The border's secure. Joe Biden secured the borders, but you have so many illegal immigrants in your town that you're having protests every week. And the Democrats are showing up leading the protests. So the Democrats are protesting their own policies, but then when you point out it's their own policy, they deny that it's even happening. We cannot move forward. We cannot progress as civilization with lunatics like that. Democrats. I mean, that's what it comes down to. Leftists, communists, Marxists, progressives. They're not progressive. These whacked out leftists will never allow civilization and humanity to actually get to the next level and thrive and prosper. That is their entire operation, is to put you into permanent shackles. But again, forgetting about the political wonkiness of it. Just observe and report on how deranged the average American liberal Democrat is. They support open borders. Then they tell you Joe Biden has the most secure border in the history of the presidency. And then they all have protests about the illegal immigrants in their city. That's Democrat Party politics right there. Open the border, say it's xenophobic if you don't like it, declare your city sanctuary cities, then say Joe Biden has the most secure border ever, then complain about all the illegal immigrants in your city. Democrat Party politics. But I want to stop ranting right now and go to the phone lines, and we're going to be taking phone calls the rest of the way here on InfoWars Sunday Night Live, brought to you by InfoWarsStore.com. Thanks to everybody for spending their Sunday night with us. Let's go to Andrew in New York. Andrew, you're on InfoWars Sunday Night Live. Go ahead.
For the atrazine-taking globalists, they're trying to stop photosynthesis. They try to stop block out the sun. They have the carbon capture. That's a scam too. They had direct energy weapons that Maui and all that. And there's also a radioactive water in Japan right now.
Yeah, the Fukushima disaster is still being dealt with.
Those estrogen mimicker taking cucks, they're gonna lose though, because like Trump and the nationalists and the people that are getting red pilled like crazy, and like Trump's like a wartime president. It's like the fourth and eighth like PSYOP group, like they like reverse PSYOPing like people to be like red pilled, and like the military they have Guantanamo Bay, and they're trying to people like get you like ruin the timeline and stuff. Like it's not really timeline based. It's just like the way like stuff like happens. Like Trump's like court case. He's gonna have the 2020 evidence, and then they're gonna 2020 evidence to Brunson, and then they're gonna decertify 2020, and then they're gonna.
So you really believe that they're going to let Trump's legal team present all that evidence to the public? You really believe that?
Yes.
See, I think that this is where Trump's legal team, and I'm not trying to be insulting to them. I'm not. I'm just telling you this is my political analysis. And we always, I mean, folks, it's no denying. InfoWars takes the bows and the arrows and everything first. We always do. I don't think they're going to let them show any evidence in court. They're going to find a way to put a judgment against him. And my guess is that the judge denies discovery, denies evidence, denies witnesses, just like they've done to Alex Jones and Rudy Giuliani and many others to follow. That's what I think is going to happen.
In that case, there's also the Supreme Court. They'll hear the case, and then there's also the military that could arrest all those treasonous people because they have the proof.
Well, it sounds like you're kind of drinking from the Q trough. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I definitely think it's true. There's a lot of proof to Q.
Well, look, and I'm okay. People can believe whatever they want to believe. The world is freaking crazy, so I'm not even blaming people. But here's the thing I don't understand, and I'm genuinely asking you this, because I know people. I have friends that still send me all the Q stuff, and they're totally convinced it's real. But here's my thing. Has anything that Q has ever said is going to happen actually happened?
Yeah, like McCain, they said that McCain died. That was actually him being executed. Like what actually happened.
Okay, but McCain was already not healthy.
No, but he didn't die naturally though. He was hung. Like Meghan McCain even said this footage.
There was a funeral. His family was there. There was a casket.
But it wasn't like an honorable one. Like even the flag was like.
They gave him like a week's worth of funerals.
No, but it wasn't an honorable one. Like even the flag was messed up. He was militarily like it's symbol one of the kind of like the proofs like the symbolism of the way that the flag was that he was a war criminal.
Well, I'm no McCain fan. Let me ask you this: what do you think was in the envelopes? Because this is the big thing that stays relevant. What was in the envelopes that Donald Trump gave the Bushes and the Obamas and the Clintons at the funeral for? Was that for Queen Elizabeth when he gave them those?
I would say the military.
Or was that for Bush?
Military arrest. I would say that the military had them like under arrest and they were going through.
You don't think Trump just gave him a nice little Christmas card?
I don't think so.
You don't think it was a Christmas card in there? Maybe Trump said, "Here's $1,000 Trump bill." Well, that's interesting, Andrew. And look, I hope that I wish, believe me, I wish all the Q stuff was real and that there are white hats and good people just basically operating cloak and dagger operations to save the country. I wish that was true. I hope that's true. I don't believe it. I don't blame you for believing it. I don't blame you for being a true believer that we can save this country or that there's other people out there acting to save this country. But, I mean, I'm just not seeing it is the thing. And I see real battles going on every day. And so I just can't buy into that. But I know you're not alone in believing these things. And you know what? I hope you're right. I hope that I'm wrong on this one and you're right. All right, let's take another call. Let's go to Carl in Wisconsin. Carl, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Owen, I want to talk about some wild conspiracies with Burning Man and the musical festival scene. It's kind of like a big rabbit hole, deep rabbit hole nobody really talks about. I don't know if you knew this, but Burning Man's owned by BlackRock LLC, and they're on 660 Alabama Street in San Francisco, and they have strong. They were before Burning Man. It was called. It was connected with the Cacophony Club and Suicide Club, and that kind of links up with the MK Ultra projects that were happening in San Francisco before then with Operation Midnight Climax. They changed the Wikipedia.
I'll tell you what. Let me just pause you real quick, and maybe if the crew can find this, let me just assume you're 100% right, and I haven't seen this for myself, but let's just assume you're 100% right, and let's also tie this into what happened at Astroworld with the portals to hell and people dying. How can I sit here and really believe that it's all a coincidence? That they have this giant festival called Astroworld, and the whole theme is portals to hell, and the whole theme is death. and then people die. And they, you know, I think it was like "see you on the other side" was even the catchphrase for the festival. It's like, oh, okay, I'm supposed to believe that's a coincidence. And then the same thing with this Burning Man stuff. Again, I'd have to look that up if BlackRock owns it at 660 Avenue in San Francisco or whatever. But I mean, Burning Man is kind of well known as just odd pagan festival. They burn giant effigies and all this other craziness, you know, drugs, sex, rock and roll, the whole thing. So, I mean, I'm not saying it's a human sacrifice ritual because that's not what people go there for. But you have a hard time believing that all these things are coincidence.
Yeah, too many coincidences. And like, you know, obviously the BlackRock and Cube Saturn connection, you're familiar with that. You know all about that. But it's on their Wikipedia. It's public knowledge. If you look it up on Wikipedia with Burning Man history. And I think it's also interesting in kind of our clique because of the MK Ultra and Operation Midnight Climax, because they were trying to use LSD and these crazy mind-bending drugs to create the Ubermensch, you know, super soldiers, and how to do that with sex and drugs, obviously. And it kind of connects also with Revelations, where with all this DMT usage, which they're doing DMT there, literally we're living in times where, like, the dead are walking the earth because they're taking DMT, dying, and then walking the earth again. So I thought that's kind of interesting stuff going on there.
Well, here's the thing, too, because I tried to look at all the angles and just be as down to earth as, say, a conspiracy theorist could be. I've been to giant music festivals. I've been to the biggest music festivals in the world. I've seen what can go wrong, even when everything goes right. And I would say that, I mean, not to put some arbitrary age number, but I mean, since I've turned 30, I have no interest in going to these music festivals anymore. I can't handle it. I've seen what happens when they go wrong. It's too much. I mean, even if you get a VIP pass to most of this stuff, you're still putting yourselves in a position for something to go wrong. And so I've been to a couple in my 30s. I'll usually try to get some sort of a pass so I don't have to deal with the madness. But look, stuff can go wrong at these music festivals really easily, especially with the numbers of people that they have showing up. So I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, just because something went wrong, that there's obviously something else going on. But we're also not so naive. And by the way, the crew just proved everything you said was right. They just put the numbers on the screen. So yeah, so I'm not too naive to think, oh, here's a company that BlackRock that wants to buy up everything and make us all slaves. And here they are. Yep, 660 Alabama Street, San Francisco. They apparently own the event, the Burning Man event. So there you go.
Yeah, and like the elites are kind of, you know, taking over the old druggy hippie movement over there. And it's super interesting because all these people who are godless heathens are now full circle horseshoe theory, linking back up with God because they take these drugs, have an NDE, near-death experience, see Jesus, meet God, see hell, whatever, and they come back believers because once you see it, you know, there's no going back. So it's kind of interesting, kind of full circle going on over there.
Well, I'll just say this. I'll just say this. Anybody who's had that experience and doesn't come out with at least an understanding that there are threads of creation that are just right in front of us that we don't understand, it's just the whole idea that we're just here on some floating rock in space by chance and we evolved from pond scum. It's so ludicrous. I mean, it is quite possibly one of the most moronic, low IQ, generally accepted theories ever. This theory of evolution. Impossible. The creation that we're in here of human consciousness, this experience is so divine. It's so high tech beyond our understanding, but that's what you're getting to. It's like you go through this, you realize like, whoa, we're not just here in some third dimension pond scum running around. Like, holy smokes, we are in God's projection. We're like in God's mind or something.
Yeah, and it's only getting more and more popular with our generation, where like Joe Rogan, you know, is talking about all the psychedelic stuff. And, you know, if you think about it from like a CIA, especially post-COVID, how are you going to get normal young people and people in general, civilians, to take these crazy mind-altering drugs
Or who knows what they can manipulate on these other parallels. And so now they're going to bring in an alien, But I do notice that alcohol consumption is down in the youth and psychedelics is up. I'm not saying that's a good or a bad thing. Probably a good thing that alcohol use is down. That's a downer. But they've been testing with LSD. They've been testing with DMT. They believe that they can map out the alternative dimensions, basically keeping these, we'll call them interdimensional astronauts, on a DMT trip to keep them at the perfect level of consciousness and vision, because usually you go in and out, it's like a 5-minute thing. They think they can just keep you there and you can map out these alternative dimensions. So who knows what's really going on with not just secret government experiments, but even just secret private experiments. I mean, Jeffrey Epstein had that giant deal in New Mexico with Bill Gates where they were apparently planning on cloning Epstein 1,000 times. So who knows the kind of stuff these people do? Who knows what they do at Epstein Island in these temples where they're all on hallucinogenic drugs and DMT and acid, and they're chopping up kids and raping each other? I mean, who knows the kinds of crap that they have seen and what they think, what they believe they can do. Interesting call, Carl. Let's go to Mike in Michigan. Mike, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I want to plug all your products. I take multiple ones. The Turbo Force, the Vitamin Fusion, the X2, the X3, the D3. I called you a while back ago about how come you don't take pictures anymore of people sending their pictures of stuff, and you started doing it again. And I noticed you never put mine on. But
you're talking about hashtag InfoWars store?
Yeah. Well, yeah. On your Twitter.
Mike, it feels like a personal attack. If you send, we will find it. I will have the crew find it. If you use hashtag InfoWars store and you post your picture, I will find it. I will put it on the air tonight.
I made you. I didn't make you. Sorry. I talked you into it. I talked you into it one night when I called in, and you said, yeah, we need to start that back up. So I sent my picture in with my little cabinet with a little InfoWars store shelving where all my stuff is all lined up, spaced out. But I never seen it, but I might have missed it. But anyways.
Well, I'll tell you what, no. I want you to put it out again. If you put it out again, guys, monitor hashtag InfoWars store. But Mike, I got to tell you, usually we do show everything. So I'm going to trust you that I didn't show it.
Saying. I might have missed it.
There's a possibility.
You guys, listen, I'm a drywaller, and my guys that I work with, they hate working with me because I don't listen to music no more. I haven't for the last 15 years. I listen to InfoWars. This is what I study and pay attention to. I got 8 grandkids. And you guys have changed my outlook at life. And what we're doing right now is protecting them. Okay? So I appreciate everything you guys do, your crew, all you guys, everybody at InfoWars. You're all I listen to. Well, not really. I mean, I do jump around and listen to other stuff before you guys come on in the morning. But once you guys are on, you guys are my main thing. I put your word out everywhere.
Well, Mike, God bless you for your support. You keep us on the air, and you said you work in, I guess it's construction or some sort of, you're working in houses, and you wanted to talk about smart meters. Yeah. So, but, real quickly, though, let me address something you just said, because this really is everything. You talk about your grandkids. We kind of have this belief or this notion that somehow it's inevitable that our offspring or the future generations are never going to get to experience life the way previous generations have. Now, what does that mean to us? That means in America that we don't have the freedoms we used to have. We don't have the prosperity we used to have. We don't have the access to climb the financial ladder, the social ladder that we used to have. And so we might call it back in the good old days or back in my day and everything like that. And so we worry that future generations will never get to experience that lifestyle and that America, and that's some sort of a given. I disagree. I don't think that that is a given. I think that we can return to an American way of life that does have the freedoms that our ancestors experienced and does have the prosperity that our ancestors experienced. We're obviously going in the wrong direction, but I don't believe it's impossible to turn this thing around. I think it comes inherently when you actually have a constitutional republic operating the way that it is intended to. But obviously, you got to have a lot of cultural changes as well. But Mike, okay, so you work in drywalling, and you wanted to call in about smart meters.
Okay, so I want to say one more thing though. What you're saying right now, I woke up a long time ago. Back, I used to subscribe to Glenn Beck. Then when he was against Trump, I got woke up right when Obama got in, and I dropped Glenn Beck and came to you guys because somebody else told me about you guys, and you guys have been my go-to guys. I started listening to you guys, and I used to pay for you guys, and all of a sudden you quit charging, and I couldn't understand why.
Well, let me tell you why, because we believe this information getting out is more valuable than making a bunch of money.
I know that now. All right, that's why I buy your products. My wife has health issues. I started buying your products to help her, and she don't like Alex's voice, so she don't trust nothing. Well, she didn't. And so I started taking the products, and I'm like, holy smokes. Now she takes the products. Your Clydal Silver Bullet, man, I'm so glad you guys brought that back. I struggled to find that through Alex's dad.
Well, they tried to have us shut down from selling it, but we got it back in stock. Yep. Colloidal Silver, InfoWarsStore.com. But so you're saying I need to preserve my voice so I don't end up sounding like I chew on gravel every day like Alex?
Yeah. And she heard him. She heard a commercial of him when he was younger. She's like, well, what happened to his voice? I said, it's from yelling on the microphones and stuff and out in crowds, and it just messed his voice up. I mean,
well, and let me just tell you,
I almost got a divorce. I almost got a divorce when I woke up. My wife was so scared because I was being lied to, and I was so pissed off.
Oh my gosh.
That she left for a couple weeks, but then she ended up coming back, and everything is good now.
All right.
We buy your survival food. We got your water filtration. We got your air filters. But anyway, so the smart meter. My smart meter, they brought and installed it on my house when I was not home.
Yep, that's what they try to do when you're away.
Right. And so I came home, and I'm mowing my yard, and I looked, and I'm like, well, what the hell is this? It's like 12 inches from my head on the other side of that wall.
Oh, and it's blasting you with the radio waves. Blasting you.
And so my lungs started filling up. I would cough at night. I would have headaches at night. All right, so a buddy of mine who's on the same page, he told me that you can reject it. So I called Consumers Power here in Michigan. I'm just like 5-10 miles north of Flint. So I called Consumers, and they said, well, we can't do that. I'm like, no, yeah, you can. I don't want this meter on my house. Well, it's going to cost you. Okay, what's it going to cost me? So they wanted, because my electric meter is on one side of my house, and my gas meter's on the other side, and I had my grandkids living here, 2 of them at the time, which the gas meter was right in my granddaughter's bedroom on the outside of her bedroom. That they had to change both of them because the gas meter shoots through the house over to the electric meter. So it's getting everybody in the house that's sleeping. That's how they transfer.
And I haven't done this in some time. It's probably been a couple years. I've got one of those radio wave spectrometers. I don't know the technical word for it, but I've taken it out. I've taken it to the smart meters. I've taken it to the cell phone towers. I mean, even put it up next to the cell phone. It rings. It shows you how it goes off the charts. So this is a very real thing. Maybe I should take that spectrometer back out and show people what we're talking about here. Folks, this is very real. This is very real.
So I called Consumers. They said, well, it's going to cost you like almost $400 for them to come back out and get rid of the smart meters and give me regular meters, Plus, it's going to cost me each month because now they got to send somebody to my house to read my meter.
Yep.
And I have 2 pit bulls that I don't chain up. They roam my yard. They don't leave the yard. They stay right here. But because my dogs are out when I go to work, now I got an issue with that. And they wanted to come back and put a smart meter in, and I told them, hell no. No, I don't want that on my property. You let me know when you're coming on the days that you're going to come to read the meter, and I'll make sure my dogs are in the garage. And they haven't got back with me.
Yeah, and usually that's just a bluff because the whole we have to report your energy consumption to the corporate world government isn't actually in place yet. So usually that is just a bluff.
Sure. Right, and I don't have nothing smart in my house. Everything's just like me, dumb as hell.
Well, obviously you're not that dumb.
Well, I'm not computer savage. My refrigerator ain't computer savage. My dishwasher ain't computer savage. Nothing in my house is smart. I refuse to go that route. And being a drywaller, and I'm in people's houses, and it's amazing of how many people have these smart thermostats, smart refrigerators.
Well, nobody knows.
And it's just
they just don't understand what it is. They just figure, oh, it's the new technology, it's the latest thing, it's good, it's great, and that's the propaganda they're sold.
And so I do work for homeowners. I don't work for builders. And everybody hears Alex Jones in the morning when I'm listening to him, and they're like, who's that? I thought he died. They all think it's Glenn or the guy that just passed away. Who's the guy that just passed away with the raspy voice?
Are you talking about Rush Limbaugh?
Yes, sir. And everybody thinks it's Rush. And I'm like, no, this is Alex Jones. You know how many people I got listening to Alex Jones?
Alex Jones and Rush Limbaugh sound nothing alike. That's incredible. But you're saying you listen to this at the house when you're working on the houses, and the house owners, when they hear it, what do they say?
Oh, they're just, most of them, well, if you were to see my van, I got Let's Go Brandon on the side of it. I got a picture of Trump on one window. The back of my van is plastered with F4 stickers. So I pull in straight when I go do the bid. And when I get the job, I back in. So if you're a liberal and you see my van after I back in, it's kind of too late. We don't sign the contract. If you don't like it, well, deal with it. But I'll tell you right now, 9.5 out of 10 here in Michigan, all the jobs I do, and I'm from the Flint area, but I travel up north, I travel down south, I travel to the Grand Rapids, Lansing area. There's more supporters. There's more Trump supporters than Biden supporters.
Oh, yeah, it's not even close. I can't even find a Biden supporter. I'm serious. I couldn't find one if I tried. Mike, I spent a lot of time with you on the phone, and thank you so much for the call. Really just a great call, but I spent a lot of time with Mike. So when we come back, I'm going to start plowing through the rest of these callers. I'm not going to spend 10 minutes on a caller. I apologize to the rest, but we're going to go to James. We're going to go to Johnny. We're going to go to Sarge. We're going to go to Ron and so much more. I'm going to actually pile drive through these calls. And then, I don't know, maybe we'll have Rush Limbaugh and Alex Jones on air at the same time. And we'll see just how different those two voices are. That's amazing, though. I guess they kind of sound alike in what they say. And maybe that's why there was that confusion. But the voice patterns are almost completely opposite.
Body's is back. The ultimate turmeric product on the market has returned to InfoWarsStore.com and is now 25% off for a limited time. Utilized for thousands of years, turmeric is one of the most studied medicinal herbs today. Hundreds of peer-reviewed scientific articles are published every year on the chemistry and therapeutic potential of turmeric and its active components. Body's will reduce inflammation throughout the body, help boost and support flexibility, increase mobility, assist in joint function, bolster your immune system, and so much more. Regular turmeric from the store contains about 1 to 5% of the active ingredient curcuminoids, but our super powerful extract used in Body's contains over 95% of the active ingredients in turmeric. No other product can compare with this curcuminoid delivery system, so if you want to put the true power of turmeric to the test, then look no further. Grab yourself a bottle today for 25% off at InfoWarsStore.com and put your body at ease.
financing to fight the globalists. Plus, we've got great products you need. These are historic. They're one of a kind. We sold out of Alex Jones for President shirt. Told you, these are all limited editions now. And we have a few of the political prisoner original mugshot, which is not the real mugshot, that you can get at InfoWarsStore.com for $17.76. But what we do have being printed right now is the real Trump mugshot Never Surrender t-shirt. And on the front, it says Trump 2024. On the back, it says Never Surrender. That's what he said yesterday. Infowars.com. So Trump 2024 in black and white and in gold with Never Surrender on the back. And that's a designer shirt, ladies and gentlemen. High quality fabric, high quality printing. So when we're selling these for $17.76, we paid like $15 for these. So we're just selling that one almost at cost. It's almost gone. So the original limited edition political prisoner shirt that is not the accurate mugshot, something we came up with when they were originally going to do it and didn't. Then we now have the real mugshot, and if you want those, they're being printed right now. Anybody tells you you've got the shirt, it isn't a 2-week wait, it is full of it. We put the order in this morning. They'll be done in about a week and a half. They're making them right here in Texas, and they'll be shipping out. So get your orders in now and get a piece of history. Trump 2024 in black and white, the real mugshot, Never Surrender on the back, Infowars.com, and we have the gold one as well. I think the gold one will be the most popular, but we will see. All 3 shirts now available. The original ready to ship, limited edition about to sell out. And we also have a flash sale of X3. Limited supply came in, and Vitamin Mineral Fusion. Both are selling out very, very quickly. But despite that, they're 40% off. That's what finances this operation. I want to thank you all for your support. And we're not getting what humans always thought was key, the bone broth. 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 What in the world? But now with the milk, I was like, whoa, this has milk in it. Whoa. It tastes like good. Man, this tastes so good. Tastes like the best milkshake ever. It tastes like Ovaltine. It tastes like Ovaltine. It tastes like Ovaltine. Like good. Whoa.
While other networks lie to you about what's happening now, InfoWars tells you the truth about what's happening next. Visit Infowars.com/show and share the link today.
Other news I was going to cover tonight, but since I spent so much time on a few callers in that last segment, we're going to spend a lot of time on callers for the remainder of this transmission. But let's just say, and maybe it's a good thing I didn't dig into this yet because it requires some more digging, but I've always wondered, how is it they get so many people to act criminally on the front lines? So it's like, we know the deep state criminals that like to operate in the shadows. I mean, even Joe Biden, to an extent, with the persecution of Trump, he tries to act like he has nothing to do with it. He is not in the meetings or has any idea what's going on. We know that's a lie. But how do they get people like this sheriff in Fulton County, this judge, Jack Smiths? How do they get these people to just commit in what many people view open treason right in front of the public like this? Well, let's just say there's some weird stuff coming out potentially about this Fulton County sheriff, and it might be where it all leads. It just might be where it all leads. But I'll just leave it at that for now. But I've always wondered, it's like, how do they get people to just go up there and lie to the American public about Donald Trump, lie about the crimes he's so-called committed, when they know that Trump is not the criminal, and they know what they're engaging in is political persecution? How do you get somebody to commit like that? What interest is it of theirs to commit like that? What interest is it of theirs to decide to be the front men in this political persecution of Donald Trump? Well, maybe there's something else going on. Maybe there's some blackmail. Maybe that's what's going on. But we'll have to put that on hold. And we go to the phone calls now. Remember, folks, everything we do here is possible with your support at InfoWarsStore.com. It's always great when we hear from audience members like we did in the last segment about how the products work for them. And they do. I'm a product of the products at InfoWarsStore.com, like Body's 25% off right now. Vitamin Mineral Fusion in stock right now. I start every day with Vitamin Mineral Fusion. I know I'm getting 100% the daily value I need of vitamin A, B6, B12, vitamin C, D, and E, and so much more. And it's your support on InfoWarsStore.com that keeps us on the air so that this show can be live every Sunday night. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. We've got Jimbo James in St. Louis. Jimbo, you're on the air. Go ahead.
That's right, buddy. St. Louis.
Yeah, how we doing?
I can't complain yet. It was only 92 today.
We got up to 100 today, so we're still hotter.
Yeah, I had 95% humidity.
No, we didn't have that.
Yeah. You remember how it was?
Oh, I do. I love the heat. I don't complain. I like the heat. I'm a true lizard person.
I don't mind the heat. I don't care for the humidity. And give me a breeze every once in a while.
Get some of that lung cleanse if we still have it at InfoWarsStore.com. That'll help. What's on your mind, James?
First, I'd like to say I love Vitamin Fusion and Body. They're fantastic. I'm a little older than you. I'm not too much older than you, but I'm a little older than you. But yeah, they're fantastic. But first off, you went to CBC. I went to Bayless. I knew where Glacier National Park was.
Yeah, I guess they didn't really teach us too much about glaciers at CBC.
After that roast, though, I'd like to say that the old Wake Up America was fantastic.
What was that?
The old Wake Up America roast, the coffee, was fantastic. I haven't tried the new one yet.
The new stuff is great, too. The new stuff is great, too. You'll like it.
Well, I can't wait to order it. But anyway, they keep talking about climate change and whatnot, but they never talk about the Three Gorges Dam in China that actually altered the Earth's axis because the amount of weight in it. You know what I'm saying?
I've not heard about it. This is a new one for me.
You never heard that?
Three dams in China changing the Earth's axis?
The Three Gorges Dam in China was so heavy, it changed the Earth's axis. I'm not making this up, by the way.
I've not heard that. When was that constructed?
Like 10 years ago.
Interesting.
Yeah, so if you put 10 years on a 2% tilt, that's 20%. You know what I'm saying?
Look, they want us to think that somehow you eating meat or driving a car is the problem. They spray lithium, barium, they spray all this stuff into the air. And then they claim that you're causing it. They literally engage in weather modification, and then they blame you for existing, for changing the weather.
My chain smoking caused my emphysema. I'm playing. But anyway, there's something else I wanted to say. I can't remember what it was. I don't think they're going to try to kill Biden or Trump. That's not going to happen because they're not ready for it. They just spent all this money in Ukraine. How can they possibly afford a civil war against a civilly armed population? You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, a bunch of different angles. I think the most likely situation, how will the Democrats remain in power? How will they keep Joe Biden in power? I don't even think they want to run an election theft like they did because too many people are aware of it and paying attention now. So a war with Russia seems to be the odds-on favorite for how they're going to remain in power.
Yeah, but World War III is a little extreme. Like, who wants to rule over a colony of roaches?
Well, you've got to understand, there's still a level of delusion from the Biden types, and they really just think that the U.S. military is going to win any battle they want them to, and they don't understand that Russia and China are an extremely formidable foe, and the U.S. military is not what it once was. They're too busy recruiting people that have orange hair and have a wound where their penis used to be. So this is not the old military, and this is not the old Russia, China either.
Hey, don't forget women with mustaches, and we just gave half of them all of our arms.
Oh, that's true, too. Joe Biden said publicly that we have no ammunition. We gave it all to Ukraine. So I'm sure China and Russia were jumping for joy at that news. Jimbo, thank you for the call. Let's go to Johnny Freight Train in Florida. Johnny, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I've been praying for you. I got two things to tell you. I was right here in the extreme path of that storm. I live in Lower Leon County, 8 miles from the capital. I'm a quarter of a mile as the crow flies from Wakulla County. At the last minute, it took an eastward jog, and I got a canopy of trees over a double-wide trailer. I didn't have one tree down. Thanks be to the Almighty. But that's not the prayer I was praying. I was praying that God would spin off a tornado off of that storm and take me out of here, because I've been catching hell just like y'all. But I went down to Wakulla County yesterday, and I went to the Walmart down there, and lo and behold, the whole meat case was empty, Owen. And I asked a supervisor lady, which was an Asian lady with broken English, what was going on. Of course, I knew what was going on. She said the storm. They couldn't get a truck. I said, well, I thought it might have been that Secretary of Transportation went on paternity leave again. But she didn't catch what I was saying, but that was okay.
She was no fun of booty juice?
So I went to pay for the stuff that I did manage to scrape up at the cashier, and I asked the cashier, I told the cashier, I said, the president's supposed to be down here somewhere surveying what FEMA has done for the state with this storm. She said, well, he's not going to be up here. He's down in Miami. Do you know where he was at yesterday, Owen?
I saw him with some damage behind, but I didn't see where.
Okay.
He did that press conference with some downed trees behind him. That's all I saw.
Okay. I just thought you might know. Well, look, thank you for what you do, Owen. And God be with you and Harrison and Alex. And I'm praying for you all every day.
Thank you, Johnny. That means a lot. Really does. Yeah, there's Biden in Florida pretending like he knows or cares what's going on. Everybody knows that's not the case. And actually, you can tell he was struggling through this. He was barely even able to read, and you could see the people behind him starting to cringe, like, uh-oh, how bad is this going to be? Uh-oh, Joe, stay on message, uh-oh. All right, let's go to Sarge Marine in Alabama. Sarge, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Owen, love your stuff. I'm going to not read the label on the vitamin fusion. I'm not going to look up what's in the vitamin fusion online. I'm just going to take the vitamin fusion.
Now imagine, so for those that don't understand, you are mocking, who was it that said that? Who was the lady that said that?
I don't remember who she was. But
This is going to bother me. Some dingbat liberal woman says, I think it was like, she was like the NAACP leader or something. It was some black propagandist. And she's saying, just take the vaccine. She's like, I know what they did to us with the Muskegee experiments, but I'm not here to question this vaccine. I'm rolling up my sleeve. I'm not looking at the ingredients. I don't care what the scientific data or the test says. I'm taking the infusion. Now, imagine if we had that same marketing strategy. They would shut us down tomorrow. If I came on air and said, I've never tested bodies. I don't know what's in bodies. For all I know, this could be poison, but I don't care. I'm going to open my mouth and I'm going to swallow the pill, and you should too. Now, of course, I'm being facetious. I take bodies all the time. I know it's great. The audience knows it's great. But imagine, that was their strategy with the vaccine. Shut up, don't ask questions, don't look at the ingredients, take the vaccine. That is unbelievable.
Okay, well, what I called you about, Owen, was I'm going to tell you who they are. And they've been recruiting and competing against each other for over 70 years to see how many people they could get in these seats of power that can actually, in your local government, make you do these draconian measures that make no sense whatsoever. And I've been in 2 of these international clubs. They're international because they bow to the UN. They send the United Nations money. Now they're getting paid out of the accounts where they sent the money in. It's coming back to the leaders of these organizations so that they will continue to do these things. And everybody's like, who are they? Well, any club that's got international on the end of it, Rotary Club International, Lions Club International, Shriners International, any international club is a United Nations construct. That's what they do. They actually compete to see how many people they can in their local chapter get into seats of authority in our local governments. Go ahead.
No, I'm listening.
Our local governments, the ones who run our water boards, our electric companies, our judges, our judicial system, everything you see, the stores, who manages those stores for that region, they all have those club members sitting in those positions.
Well, and imagine what they do is a psychological analysis, and they say who's willing to take orders, who will sacrifice themselves or sacrifice anything for more power, for more prestige, and that's how you work your way up through these systems.
One of the things that nobody's aware of right now, there are patriots in those clubs, and there's a silent war going on inside those clubs. So if you're a member of those clubs, support those people that are bringing this up in your meetings. They have the high-ups, it says in the Bible. We don't battle against flesh and blood, but powers and principalities in high places. They're sitting in those high places. They're getting money back from the UN. Nobody does this stuff for free. There's only one course of action left to us is 1778 constitutionalists, because they had to take the same constitutional oath with their hand on the Bible to sit in any of those seats. And the only way to go after them is get after them for their surety bond. I didn't know this. I had to learn this. You got to teach your local insurance company what that is, because they have to do the investigation. There's no judge. There's no lawyer. The insurance company has to do it. You go after their surety bond, which is a surety bond saying they will stay within the parameters of the Constitution of the United States and of their state. Once they go outside of that, they're done. You get the surety bond. They can no longer hold office. It's bondsforthewin.com is who taught me this. But I'm also, having been in, Masonic and also being in Rotary, I'm telling you what's actually going on and who's carrying out these, and you have to support those, your American Legion. That's who's local, who goes by the Constitution, your VFW. Support those men and women who served already. They're who needs to be in positions of authority, not these international club members. But once you identify who they are, be careful, because they are dangerous people. And they know. That is the blackmail. You understand? That's the blackmail, America. And in other countries, too. So,
all right, Sarge, thank you for the call. I got to jump. Brother. Let's go to Ron in Florida. Ron, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah. You heard anything on the 36 military servicemen that went into Hawaii, Maui, and helped the local people and arrested some of the cops for treason to the country?
No, I've not heard about that. Guys, you want to plug in 36, just plug in 36 military Maui. Maybe something will come up. I've not heard about this.
That's all. I got that. There's on TikTok. It's on the X.
Well, there's a lot of false information coming out of Maui, and I've not heard about that. But I do know that they've got that thing on a cover-up operation, the likes of which nobody's ever seen. Media is getting blocked. They've set up giant black walls all around the burned areas so that nobody can even see what happened anymore. Even miles outside of the burn zone, cops are showing up telling people they can't film, they can't talk. So there's a massive cover-up on, no doubt. Of what you can debate, but they're covering something up.
Right. Okay. Appreciate it.
Yeah, there's that story that Ron just brought up on the screen. Again, I've not heard much of this, and see, See, I don't even like to go down this path because I'm not trying to turn anybody off from the info war, and I'm not trying to support the people that are getting involved in their own ways, and I'm not trying to slight or slander the people that, like that gentleman apparently who goes to TikTok and says that police officers are getting arrested for treason, because I don't want to turn people off from trying to share information and be a part of this info war. But as somebody that's, I mean, I'm pretty well experienced in this deal now. You just got to be careful not to fall for fake information, and you just got to be careful who you're listening to, because there's people out there that will intentionally mislead you, and then there's people out there that are just so thirsty for anything in this info war to try to build momentum off of it that they can be a little susceptible too. So again, I don't say that as a slight. It's just we have to really have our vision focused, and we have to really decide what stories are real and what stories are fake. Like a perfect example, maybe it's a little more trivial, but when there's images going around of a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket launch, and somebody just superimposes that over Maui and says, see, look, it's a directed energy weapon, and then that goes viral, and people say, see, we caught him. Well, no, that's fake, and now because you fell for that fake, people aren't going to believe us the next go-around. So we just got to be really careful. Again, I'm not discounting that man's testimony. I've not seen it. I don't know that story.